drums.
Well, yeah, we don't know just the drums.
Yeah, nobody
part.
listens to just the
drums.
drums.
Is almost never melody.
They're support. Get out of here.
I was a bass player. Trust me, I know. I know.
Filler.
I'm literally going e e e e e. Like if that's the bass player for you.
Yep.
Every once in a while you get a melody, but because you're a bass player, it's insane because you have to like pretend like you know how to do shit
And keep time.
Yeah.
Well,
I do. I'm supposed to be good at that, and then you put me on melody, and I don't know what the fuck to do. The count goes out the window.
Yeah, I prefer bass songs with bass. It lets the bass go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like, go have some fun, basically.
Yeah, that would be great. Classical music, not so much.
No.
All right.
Hi, baby boy. I know you're 14, but you're still baby. Yeah.
What's going on, buddy?
He's like, nobody else will pay attention to me.
That loves me.
Yeah. He's like, I know that.
All right.
You know how long do podcasts?
So we're live streaming.
Right now.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
live streaming.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Oh, shit. Now I gotta, like...
Did the webcam not work?
The webcam, for some reason, it's just connected to the computer, not the one that we tried to set up. So, whatever.
Right.
Hi, baby.
You guys do your thing. And
Okay.
I'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Will you buy another lighter?
Yes.
Okay. And maybe leave the red one with us.
What do you do with the white one?
It's in the arm thing of the net. It's not. It hadn't died officially, but it was working on dying. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you.
I'm gonna kill some time.
That's fine.
Give you guys plenty of
Cool.
elbow room.
All right, so we're live streaming. We saw Barbie.
We saw
We saw
Barbie.
the Barbie movie.
We did see Barbie. And
It was kind of insane.
I like your hair.
It has a weird little horn right
No,
here.
that's that. I never get that kind of. I never get that.
That's
All right.
a shocking amount of teasing and hairspray that went into trying to look like backyard luau Barbie.
Oh yeah, Little House on the Prairie Barbie.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah, so we saw like a nice early matinee of Barbie,
Mm-hmm.
and we wanted to talk about it because holy shit, there's a lot of levels of how amazing it was. I was going to write a little outline.
Oh, you're gonna write it out. Okay, good. Because I definitely, you know me, I'm not good without a tangent.
We are well-behaved women, by the way.
Yes, welcome to our live stream. We are well-behaved women. For anyone who doesn't know, I have to
It's
go
a hot
into it.
mess today.
Well, it's hot.
That's fine.
It's hot. I was sweaty in a
That's okay.
theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the air conditioning there, what the fans here is nice.
Yeah, true. But yes, if you don't know, we have a podcast about famous and infamous women from throughout history. And so, of course, we wanted to go see Barbie because who hasn't more recently, I guess, infinitely shaped how femininity has been portrayed, like the ideal feminine figure, the ideal feminine identity in Barbie's beginnings. So I was very, very excited about the opening of Barbie, which we will get into.
The pink thing has been wonderful. When I bought the tickets, the like select buttons turned pink, and that was really fun.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Of course,
That was fun.
Barbie is branded pink. Barbie
Yeah,
owns-
everything was the pink.
It was the Barbie pink, and
I
then
wondered if it was that guy that made the pinkest pink, or if it was
No.
already a Barbie pink.
there was already a
existed.
branded Barbie pink. Okay. Yeah. There had to have been by the time I would say the 70s and 80s rolled around. By the time the 80s for sure, because that's when I'm an uneducated. Not uneducated. I have a bachelor's degree, but I'm not
Chewy?
Barbie educated.
Is it a hot mess down there? Come on,
Chewy?
clean up, bud.
But like by the time you have like the Barbie boxes, it was well established by that time for like 30 odd years in the
Mhm.
80s. And so by then you would have, I think, a Barbie pink. because you've got the boxes, you've got the stylized logo and the trademarks. So,
Yeah.
but the guy who did the pink is pink. I don't think that.
I love that story.
Yeah,
It makes me very happy.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess let's talk about like, what's your history with Barbie? What did you do growing up? Like, how did you use your Barbie, and what was your favorite Barbie?
I don't know if I should tell you how I used my Barbies. They were very dramatic storylines.
Everyone had traumatic storylines.
Yeah, that's
we were
true.
all our own best soap opera directors. It was amazing.
Yes,
Mine had hella dramatic storylines. There was usually like 4 or 5 Barbies involved.
Well, I had like an embezzlement storyline through a lot of it between sisters. Now, I don't have sisters. I am an only child.
But this is how you think sisters would act, as an embezzlement scam between the
No, I think it had more to do with the TV shows I was watching.
two? Okay.
Because like I'm thinking elementary school age Barbies, I vaguely remember in kindergarten, but I remember playing with them very vividly by the time I got into elementary school.
You're kind of like a
I'm
younger end of the age spectrum for Barbie too. Like you were born in the
Maybe.
90s.
91.
Yeah.
Very early 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was very popular like in the early 90s, late 80s for sure.
Yeah.
And I know it was like my sister was a baby like when it was very, very popular. So I would say
okay.
you were probably a toddler right around. They're like the height of their power.
Like early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, but that makes sense because you had like ice skating and like she had just started. Well, I don't know. My understanding of Barbie was like, it is very much a projection. I was definitely taking kind of the context of whatever my parents were watching. So think Friends, Mad About You. There was, I watched a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway? So a lot of suggestive humor. And a lot of that would come out.
You're born to do improv.
Except for I'm not good on my feet. Oh, maybe. I don't know. But it was very much, oh God, like dramatic. Like this Barbie was like a superstar because she's a rock star Barbie.
Right.
But
obviously.
she has a sister who wants her Ken.
Mm-hmm.
And then it uses their divorce and some fake plot line of like cheating or something, infidelity, and it broke the prenup. I knew a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was insane. And my mom would walk in and just, I remember a few times she would walk in and just kind of like come back and watch me play my Barbies and just kind of be like, what the fuck are you doing? Okay.
Yeah.
She would walk out and she's just like, I don't know what the fuck she's doing. Aww.
If we're going to do this, we should.
Oh, yeah, duh. We should put that up.
Keep going.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, just the very, very dramatic storylines. You know, everybody's cheating on everyone. But I think at some point I kind of stopped playing with Barbies around the time that I got really into The Sims.
Yeah.
Because The Sims, you get to basically play God. And so, you know, you get to make your own people. They can look like whoever. I would make celebrities. I'm sure I made, like, by the time I got to high school, it was, Orlando Bloom?
Probably.
Most likely there was a time where I had a crush on Orlando Bloom, made him into a Sim, had him marry my idealized version of myself, and, you know, and see what happens. And so, like, I think I had a more digital version of a Barbie, essentially.
Yeah.
And so now I think the generations after that, which would be, that came out in like, 2001? Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think is when The Sims came out. Now, I could go into The Sims, but we're talking about Barbie today. We are talking about Barbie. But everybody had that Barbie whose head popped off. And you had to like put it back on. I really wish they had addressed this, where the head would pop off, and sometimes once the head came off, because it had like this little ball and joint in the inside.
Oh yeah.
And so you couldn't pop it back on exactly the way they made it.
No, because then their head would always be like weirdly deformed afterwards.
Or it just wouldn't stay on.
Yeah.
So then I ended up with a Barbie that had no neck. And so like you just kind of had the no neck Barbie. And so I was kind of hoping they put that in there. Oh, I forgot you're making that.
No, you're fine.
What about you? When you started with your Barbie journey?
Yeah. I had, let's see, we lived in like Florida, and so a lot of the Barbies were swimming pool Barbies. I was a swimmer.
Okay.
So they had to be able to deal with like water.
Okay.
So I loved My Little Mermaid Barbie and like
Well, I had an Ariel version of
Yeah.
Barbie.
yeah, the big long red hair.
Yeah.
And she looked really weird. Like her eyes were way too big and her head was out of proportion.
Oh yeah, but it was Disney.
Yeah, because it was
Fine.
a Disney Barbie.
And Disney in the 90s loved the no ribs, giant doll eyes kind of look.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah.
Had that. We had like I think like a secondhand like house. It was like a doll house. It wasn't a Barbie house. So Barbie was too big
Yeah.
for her house, but I didn't really let that stop me. So
Yeah.
and a lot of it would be like honestly like replaying like Disney movies that I had seen.
Oh hell yeah.
Or like Friends episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would do that with Friends episodes.
And they weren't all named Barbie.
No.
They all had their own names.
Yeah, I had Teresa. She was probably my favorite of the
Mhm.
Barbie line because like she was a fellow brunette. And
There
I
you
was
go.
living, where I had a lot of friends who were blonde, so I was just so used to.
Oh yeah, Barbie was the blonde one and Teresa was the brunette.
Yeah, Teresa was the
And
brunette.
then some really racist name for the black girl. Don't remember
I
what
don't.
it was.
Well, yeah, I do not. I don't really remember anybody besides Teresa and obviously Barbie and and Skipper because I thought Skipper was cool. I don't know why I thought Skipper was super, super cool. What? She's awesome. Oh, not that Skipper. I don't have that Skipper. Okay, all right. We should probably talk about
All right, let's talk about the
the
movie.
movie because in order to get that, they make a
Spoilers.
reference.
It's spoilers. We're doing such big spoilers. So we're talking about Barbie. So let's talk about the look.
Oh God, Technicolor. Not like old-fashioned Technicolor, but just
Kind of though, like high definition but old fashioned.
yes, high definition. Very. What's the term for that? It's a very stylized '50s kind of palette.
Retro.
Retro.
It was a very clean cut look. Like it was
Yeah.
very manufactured everything. The colors were super bright and like the pool wasn't actually a pool, but there
No.
was like a shimmery underneath because they used the same type of material that like Barbie Dreamhouse used to,
Right.
where it's
So,
kind of
like,
reflective blue.
Any of the sets that you're seeing, regardless of what it's supposed to look like, it is going to. If you look closely enough, you'll notice it is plastic, and they make reference to it right in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Right in the beginning. So the whole thing starts. Or do you want to get into how it starts, or do you want to keep going into the setting?
Let's do a little bit more about the setting.
Duh.
And then
Okay.
I wanted to go a little bit into the costumes because they're
Oh, yeah.
so fun. There's a moment where they kind of are throwing clothes out and they
Oh
they
yes.
have, like, you take this and you take that and
Yeah.
like as the clothes are being thrown through the air, they like freeze frame and you kind of have a little like this is this
They, like-
special clothing item and you just immediately recognize like there's a specific collection that it came from.
It almost kind of looks like if you ever remember getting boxed clothing for like the add-on additional clothing
yes,
you can buy.
yeah,
In the box, they're laid out flat.
and
So
they're pinned in weird ways.
and they are pinned in weird ways. And so when Kenton's throwing all these clothes out, it like in midair will just automatically unfurl,
Boom.
and then it goes. What
was
was one
it?
of them?
The
The
ice
faux-
skating rink,
Yeah.
the faux fur for Ken.
Yeah, it would basically tell you the name as if it's printed right there on the box.
Yeah, it's
and the
very
box was usually always some sort of blue or very contrasting color to the
Mhm.
pink, so you could always like really see the clothes.
Yeah,
It was very well done. They got the style of Barbie. They got all of the font, all the prints.
all of the elements,
Yeah.
like the little elements. There's a obviously at the very beginning there's a scene where they open up and it's in Barbie's dream house, and so the roof opens up and it comes down and she's in her bed and her bedspread has like little sparkles on it and the
Mhm.
bed and behind her she's got this cool wall that's all pink, but if you look closely like it's all plastic B for Barbie, like netting kind of
Yeah.
not netting but like that pattern, and that's the
Lattice?
thing that lattice exactly.
Is it lattice?
And that's what makes the wall. It's
Yeah.
like a barrier, but it's be for Barbie, and it's overlaid in itself. It's very cool.
Yeah, no, it's very, very,
Every
very stylish.
detail is
And
very,
no building has like a true outdoor facade to it. Like it's almost like everything was exactly like a dream house. It was cut down the middle.
Yep.
What's that called? It's like where you basically take a halfway
silhouette. No,
there's a word for it, but basically
cross section.
That's it. It was a cross section of like the dream house. So like even though you would be outside and somebody goes inside, if they say something, you can hear them. But I guess but because they're Barbies, they pretend like they don't. Don't they? Or no?
No, I mean, in the beginning of the movie, they're like all saying hi to each other, like through their houses, like from one bedroom to the other,
literally,
because there's no walls.
There's no walls.
They're just seeing each other, so it's very much like.
But they act as if he like. Remember, there was a part where Ken wanted to say something, and he didn't want Barbie to hear, so he went inside.
Yes,
so they still act as if there's a wall.
Yeah, we can talk about the acting, which is fucking brilliant.
No, but here's the thing: it's because of the imagination.
It's true.
It is.
Well, and that's exactly what you would do is like if someone wanted to like, okay, we're gonna have a whisper over here. Like you kind of back them away and then you take them around a corner and then they have a conversation.
Right.
And then you come back to the front, but like obviously they can hear.
No, yeah.
Anyway, it's super done. All right. So we've talked about the look. It's very clean cut. It's very silly. We were talking with Gary earlier about kind of what materials they made, which is very clever. Nothing is actually like wet or grassy. It's like there's like astroturf, and then there's shimmery materials, and then all of it is like this blown, like what they would use for fake rocks for movies, and it's all painted certain colors and textured in certain ways.
Right.
They even have a little Barbie land thing.
Right. So think like any backdrop that your Barbies would have.
Yeah,
if you're
like
playing a game.
if you see a commercial about Barbie where they're kind of looking at the Barbie world, that's what it looks like. Very cool. All right, so the story. We're gonna have some major spoilers. Obviously, we've already been talking about it, but so the story. Barbie is everything. Like, she's president and she's Supreme Court, and
they're all different Barbies.
Different Barbies, but they're all Barbie.
They have their own individual identity, but they are all named Barbie.
And it's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg Barbie, and President Barbie, and
Physicist Barbie,
and Dr. Barbie,
Barbie, who's also a DJ. Did you notice? Was she the DJ, or am I totally seeing things?
I think she also was, because women are multifaceted.
Right, exactly. I'm sitting here going, "Dear girl, you're a doctor and then you're a DJ at night. When the hell does she sleep?" But I guess she doesn't need to because she's Barbie.
DJ Doctor.
DJ Doctor. I said
Barbie.
Dr. DJ. DJ Doctor. I can't. Sean, don't make me say that again. I can't. DJ Doctor. Dr. DJ. Hi, bud.
The dog's here too.
Yes, Pippin.
So we kind of come on the scene of Barbie where she wakes up and you don't take the stairs, so you kind of come down. Oh, that's another part of kind of the set is like there's no stairs. It's like one floor to another floor to another floor, and then if you want to come down, there's a slide.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's technically the slide, which is not stairs, but yeah.
She drinks drinks that aren't there. She takes a shower and there's no water.
The water is pretend because it's but she does imagine it has a temperature, and she thinks she's going into a hot shower.
Yeah.
And it's not, and that's actually in the preview, so I'm not spoiling anything.
No, that's
fine. It is. She believes, because she's a doll, and everything runs on imagination. But it's like, she recognizes that it's not wet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we back up for just a second?
Yeah.
And go back to the beginning of the movie?
Yes. Well, we gotta talk about the beginning before we get into the meat and bones of it.
So it opens. If anyone's ever, what is it? Planet of the Apes is
that's 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Space Odyssey, right? So it's the like apes, having a nothing, and then all of a sudden there's man, or there's like that hole in the middle, or
the monolith.
The
monolith. When they touch the monolith,
it gives them knowledge, and they evolve.
Right. It gives them the ability to use tools, and that's like the first thing towards becoming human.
Right. So in this beginning.
It's
girls taking care of their little dollies as mothers would take care of their little babies.
And it's all narrated by Helen Mirren, who's
Which
telling
is
you.
fucking brilliant.
Yes, she is telling you that in the beginning there were only baby dolls, and so you could only do what essentially a mother does.
Yeah, which is fine for a while. And then all of a sudden, as the monolith suddenly appeared unto the apes, so did the legs appear unto the little girls.
Barbie.
And they touch these like perfect little legs, and then they look up, and it is this tall ass Margot Robbie
as the original
Barbie. Very
in all
cute.
her glory. Now, can I actually really quick talk about the original Barbie?
Yes.
Because I a lot of people probably already know this because I've seen it pop up and I learned it from YouTube, where the original Barbie was based off of a German doll named Lily. And Lily, you know about Lily?
Mm-mm.
Lily was essentially a cartoon for mainly men, essentially, that was about a sex worker
Okay.
who, like, it's just about her being a sex worker, essentially,
Okay.
and getting money. And so they had actually...
So dirty. Dirty
yes,
stuff.
it was basically, it was all innuendo and
Right.
stuff like that, double entendres. And then they made it into a doll that was more of a collector's items for fans of Lily. So it started off as a collector's item for the male gaze. And then somebody had been, Ruth, or the Handler family, had been traveling through Germany, and they had I think that's where Ruth got the idea for the actual physical body. They borrowed the Lily patent to make Barbie. So,
they borrowed the patent?
borrowed.
Yeah.
They used it without doing
Used it
anything.
as inspiration.
Yeah, they used it as inspiration, but pretty much you put those two dolls together, they look identical. But she is this gorgeous, beautiful. You see Margot Robbie in the original swimsuit with the white sunglasses, cat eye not the cat eye, but those 50s mod style. And she just sits there and it's just like, hey girls, how you doing?
And they are suddenly smashing their little dollies
Yeah.
to bits and pieces.
Nobody wants to do that forever.
In a fit of childish rage, which we loved.
Yeah.
Brilliant opening. Fucking brilliant opening.
Very.
Then we descend down to Barbie as she exists in her Barbie world, where, she's friends with all of these other Barbies, and where all of these Barbies are finding fulfillment in their existence in being friends with other Barbies and, like, hanging out and doing things. Ken is only, like, happy if Barbie acknowledges him and says hi to him.
His days are only good because Barbie has a great day every day.
Every day.
But Ken's days are only good if Barbie notices him.
Yes.
Which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But, he's just Ken, so.
He is just Ken.
He is just Ken right now.
So, they have this great day. Ken tries to obviously impress Barbie with things. They have a nice blowout party. Suddenly she thinks about dying, and it's literally the moment, record scratch.
Real quick though, before that is with Ken is the toxic masculinity we saw on the beach. So before we get to the party,
okay.
Because remember, Ken has that injury and all of that. So
but he gets it because he's trying to
impress
compete
Barbie.
with the other Ken to get Barbie's attention.
Exactly. So he thinks that he's going to go catch a wave and show Barbie that he can surf,
which is a completely solid prop set piece that Ryan Gosling literally runs into and crashes against.
But he doesn't just crash and fall down. He crashes and then
he does
goes
the
flippy, flipped almost as if a hand is flipping him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he falls, he hits his head, everybody rushes to him.
Goodness.
And then he's...
Barbie ambulance
comes
up and it opens up and it's exactly the same as what it used to. Oh my God, so
it's exactly like it's on hinges and it opens up and things pop out.
Right.
And then he gets checked out, he's good. And then he's just trying to see what Barbie's up to later because he wants to have a night with her.
Yeah.
And she's I don't know, just a giant party with everybody and tense choreography and everything.
All of my best
all
friends.
All the things, everybody. Like it's no big fucking deal. But did you notice when they're in the party? So once they're at the party and she's dancing and doing all of this, and then you notice all the Kens, so all the Barbies are dressed differently. They all have their own style and they're all generally color coordinated, but all the Kens had a tracksuit with a K on it.
I don't know what just happened there. Oh, here we go.
Oh, hi.
Hi, that's us.
Yeah. So all the Kens in the party, while the Barbies are dressed fabulously, and they all have, oh my God, amazing costumes.
Every single one of them had like exactly the type of costume that that Barbie release would have had. They go into like limited release Barbies that really didn't do well. They went into discontinued Barbies.
Yeah, and they reference it continually throughout the whole thing, which is good. You're acknowledging a history of Barbies.
Yeah,
Barbies
it's totally a lesson in industry history for sure.
Yes, they even brought up some controversial Kens, which I would love to find the Sugar Daddy Ken. I want to find the real Sugar Daddy Ken.
Yeah.
I would love to have said Sugar Daddy Ken. He was like, no, this is sugar and I'm just your daddy. Anyway, I
don't think we're live here.
Oh, shit. Complete post details.
Post on timeline. When are you going live? Streams. Okay.
Oh my goodness, Pippin.
Well, we're live on the other one.
On YouTube. Hey. Sorry about that. We're just trying to see what's going on with our live on Facebook. I really need to learn my angles.
Yeah. Don't know what's going on here. No.
Does he have like a title or something?
Yeah. A live description. Okay.
Papa.
Oh, complete post details.
Ah. These?
Yep. In-depth discussion of the movie. Save.
Oh my God, your little
now we
teethies.
can go live. There we go.
Look at your little teethies.
What's a little teeths? I
Little
got tiny
teeths.
teeths.
Little
I got
teeths.
tiny teeths. He's a good boy. I have got to move because the skirt just keeps riding up. We went as a Little House on the Prairie Barbie.
Yes.
And
Fake
backyard luau Barbie. Anyway, so Ken is in the ambulance. She invites him. He's like, "What are you doing later?" And so she has this whole blowout party. They come over. All the Kens are dressed the same, but it is a hugely choreographed number. Ken is feeling jealous of the other Kens that are dancing with Barbie. And because Barbie's saying hi to these Kens, and their day is made when you say hi to Ken.
Yes, and so he's getting jealous. The toxic masculinity comes up. He keeps trying to outdo the other Ken, which is Simu.
It's a whole choreographed thing with all just men.
Yeah,
with just all the Kens.
Yes, just the Kens. In the midst of this dance, though, wait, no, I forgot. The Kens had the tracksuits with the K on
Yes,
them.
they have the
Alan got to have his own outfit, which I love.
He did.
Alan has his own special outfit. He is not being relegated to the Ken tracksuit.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if that was like policy, or did they all just only have one outfit? I wonder if it's because they only have one outfit.
I think
for
all
Kens.
the Kens got released. Like with every like Barbie release, there was a themed Ken release.
Yes.
But all the Kens came with the same like outfit.
Interesting. So they only had like one party outfit. Yes. They only had the one party outfit, and they all had a golden K on them. But during the party, Barbie has an existential crisis and decides to say it out loud.
There's just one moment of like reflection, and Margot Robbie performs this absolutely flawlessly.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know if I can imagine anyone playing that role.
She's very expressive in a way that like very got the message across super quick. She's like having a great time. She's dancing with all of her Barbie friends, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Do you ever think about
dying?"
And it's a record scratch moment. The music stops. Everyone's looking at her like
stares.
And they're not. Their smiles don't break. They're like dancing doesn't pause. There's no like awkward thing. They're all literally just frozen, and all of their eyes are doing this crazy like.
They're basically almost like not acknowledging it.
Yeah, they're all waiting
for it to go away.
For her to like forget about it. So she, what is it, like dying to dance?
She's like, I mean, I'm like dying to dance. And everybody's
Big
like,
vibe.
awesome. And just kind of goes right back to dancing. Nothing changes. They finish the number, and she just kind of dances with this odd look on her face, like, oh God.
Yeah, there's like a moment of her eyes kind of being like, what just happened? And then she goes back to normal. And then the next day, we get the same type of like morning monologue. We have a nice opening song, and it's all of these things. Like the first time we see it, the opening song is all about how perfect everything is. And then the next day, after we see that one little blip, the next day, instead of waking up feeling perfect, she wakes up to the music and is like, holy shit, and her hair's all a mess. She kind of sits out of bed and
she
she's
doesn't
like,
just gracefully wake up. She's
Yeah.
startled awake by the song.
yeah, they move to, like, they go to a shower, and instead of being perfectly temperatured, nothing shower that's showering on her, all of a sudden, like, it's cold. Oh no. And so she kind of backs away. The milk that she has and she drinks fake is soured. So
It's
she
finally
spits it out.
expired.
Yeah, it's
said.
expired.
Yeah.
Her waffle toast is burnt.
Yeah, that's sad because it looked like it was going to be a nice heart-shaped waffle with butter, and
Yeah.
the butter doesn't even make it to the plate this time.
Yeah,
It was odd for Barbie.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, these things are odd. And so then she goes to the beach to go say hi to Ken because Ken is Beach Ken.
Yes, the stereotypical Ken, I guess, that came with stereotypical Barbie
Was Beach Ken.
which is like a beach Ken. So it's Ryan Gosling and all his Kenness.
Wonderful.
He is perfect. He is
Oh my god,
perfect.
he's so good.
He's perfect. I absolutely loved him. I don't know why I went to this accent, but it felt good.
I loved him.
I loved him. He's such a good guy. But he did a really great job as Ken. He did this really perfect, like, I don't know,
Movie
50s Fred kind of vibe
Yeah.
a little bit. But yeah, so Barbie gets to the beach. Ken is beaching as he does.
And he's, competing with the other Kens because they all want Barbie's attention.
Yeah, they all say hi to Barbie. And
Well,
she says hi to all of them. Right?
Barbie takes off her shoes
Oh, that's right.
to go and run and play in the sand and play volleyball.
How are you gonna play in that sand, man? How are you gonna play in that fake ass sand?
And instead of her feet doing the pointy thing,
Mhm.
they go flat. And she immediately
She,
falls
falls.
over and just in a way that only Barbie dolls can do.
Like a newborn baby giraffe.
Yeah,
she
it
goes
just
down.
collapses. And then she kind of scoots her way into like a bleacher, and a bunch of other
Yeah.
Barbies are like, "What's going on?"
Trying to
And
hide
she
her
shows
feet.
them, and they're like, "Oh
Like,
no!"
everyone's vomiting. This Ken, lifeguard Ken,
Oh
was
my
vomiting
God.
over the side.
Yeah. They spy on each other with like Barbie binoculars and like
Yeah.
all of the things on the set. I cannot
But
stress how much
it's
thought
perfect.
went into every aspect of
It is perfect.
Barbie Land.
Because they
Every
don't have
single
glass.
No,
There's no glass.
no glass.
You
It
can't
was
see
literally
through
it's
them.
literally like a pink plastic end. There's
Yeah.
not even the filter that makes it look like a lens. It's
No.
just a pink plastic end
Because
cap.
they're dumb.
He just kind of peeks it.
He then moves
So
in-
done.
No, he's like he's not subtle about it. He just kind of like puts it up and then immediately goes and looks at her feet. Oh, I know. So everybody's freaking out about what to do, and then they finally decide
you gotta go talk to Weird Barbie.
you gotta talk to Weird Barbie. Now, who is Weird Barbie?
Weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon, brilliantly
Love
acted, by the
her.
way. Weird Barbie is what happens to every Barbie
Yeah.
when all of us, millennial girls, inevitably played too hard with Barbie.
Yeah.
The hair gets cut, the face is drawn on, you're permanently in the splits. Her head's
Yeah.
all funkin' weird because the head popped off at some point. And you got to get back on, and it's just not quite right ever since.
Yeah.
The hips have been dislocated so many times that you can just kind of
Yeah. She's almost always in the splits.
yeah. The outfits don't match because it's from like 17 different versions of outfits that you've collected over the years. It's Weird Barbie. It's Too Long Played with Barbie.
Right.
So, Too Long Played with Barbie. She lives in a funky house,
Oh, yeah.
and so
She has a fake dog that just continually poops.
there's a moment when Margot Robbie has to walk up the stairs to go and see Weird Barbie, and she makes a comment about wearing heels, and she's
Yeah.
like, "If my feet what was it like? I would never wear heels if my feet were actually shaped like this,
Oh,
as though they
yeah.
were flat. And it's like, yeah, but that's actually how women's feet are shaped.
I know.
It's just a little quip that's just
it
it's
makes so
it's
much
in
sense.
and out, but it's so good. It's just
Yes.
well done, Greta. Just fucking bravo. The whole movie just
Yes.
so she goes and talks to Kate McKinnon, who is basically like, yeah, you got cellulite on your thigh. You got to go see who your human is in the real world and fix whatever's going on because you're being funky. So she is told how to get all of the way to the real world to like stop the disaster and in the time Barbie continuum or whatever it is. And they have a whole like going away party for her with an impossibly long banner.
I forget what it said now. It was very long, but it was about Bon Voyage. I don't know if it's Bon Voyage.
Yeah, it's like Bon Voyage and good luck on your
good luck.
and good luck on your trip to
And
stop
good luck
the
with
inevitable doom of
reality.
blah 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 blah. Yeah,
It was like, no, it was really excellent. It was good luck with reality and fixing the time space continuum
something like that.
and not having cellulite to get rid of your
To
cellulite.
get rid of your cellulite.
It's like
And your flat feet.
in your flat feet because they're so horrible. And so she's getting ready to go.
Oh my God.
I know. He just loves the attention.
I know, it's ridiculous. He would let you do that all day.
I know.
Anyway.
This is when Ken is getting jealous.
Yeah, again, because
other Ken.
Barbie's going to do stuff without him. Oh, that's another thing. He wants to kind of stay. So when they have their little blowout thing, she's like having a girls' night again. And
yes.
Ken wants to stay over and mush mounds, I guess. I don't know. But she won't let him stay because it's girls' night.
Well, he didn't
like,
know.
He feels dejected. So he's like, all right. Well, I mean, that's a bummer. Anyway, so the next day, I guess.
Well,
Ken,
he wanted to come over, but he didn't know what he wanted to do.
yeah, he's like, I don't know.
I really don't know. And so he gets like upset because every night is girls' night.
Every night is a girls' sleepover.
Is girls' night. It's
Yeah.
always girls' night in a perfect Barbie day because every day is perfect for Barbie.
Yeah.
But every night is definitely not perfect for Ken.
For Ken.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she decides to go. She is presented with a Birkenstock and a heel, and basically you can go to reality or you can stay here. And she's like, I really want the heel. And Kate's like, no, wait, you don't get to do that.
It was like the choice was fabricated, so it made you feel like you had free will.
You had free will,
but she's like, no, you can't
have to
just
do this
stay
one.
here. You have to go to sleep. So just try again. We're gonna try again. And she's like, no, I still really want to stay. No, okay.
That's another moment of the preview that I love.
Yeah.
So she goes to the real world. Ken hops along. He sneaks in the back of the car, and they go through all of these steps. And literally, the map to get to the real world is like you drive your car, and then you do your ski boat, or like your snowmobile, or your camper, and your like what was it? The ski-doo.
The jet ski.
Yeah, the jet ski. And all of these
snowmobile.
things are like other versions of Barbie that like have
all
been
the
released.
Vehicles that
and
she's
all
had.
of the vehicles, yeah. And so there's this little montage of them coming to the real world, going through all of these things,
rocket
which is
ship.
fucking
Beautiful.
I mean, just genius.
Very visually
so
appealing, very much like the background and the backdrops that like Barbie sets would have.
Yeah.
And like
You can see that they're real sets. Like it's very minimally CGI.
Yeah.
Because your imagination doesn't work in CGI. It works in practicality.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does.
They get to the real world, they're rollerblading, and all of a sudden, Barbie's getting catcalled, and she's like, I don't know what's going on here. And Ken's like, well, I feel powerful. Everyone's congratulating me.
Yeah, everybody's looking at me with like, being friendly. And
Yeah.
there's no threat of violence at all.
And she's like, I very much feel an undertone of violence
Yes,
here.
an undertone of violence.
Because they're catcalling her and just, so
talking
many.
about her body.
Yeah,
very,
it's very objectification.
and we,
all of it.
many, if
Everyone's
not
done
all
it.
women have been there before.
Felt that feeling. Anyway, so
Yes.
someone comes up behind her and grabs her ass, turns around, rightly punches
Decks
him
him
right
in the
fucking
face.
Yeah. So they get arrested.
It was so great though. That punch felt really good for me in the theater.
Actually, that's the only time I've ever punched someone in the face is when they tried to stick their finger at my ass, and it was the third time they tried it. So I was like,
No, thank you. No.
It was
no,
on
no.
a dance floor, and the first 2 times I couldn't.
No.
At first, I thought it was an accident. The second time, I was like, I know that was intentional, but I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
So the third time, I was like, when it happens again, because I know it's going to happen again, I just didn't even look. I like grabbed the wrist, blindly at the wrist behind me, the offending arm,
Yeah.
and like just it was like a pull and punch at the same time.
I've never punched.
It just happened to hit right in his face. I wasn't aiming for anything. I didn't think that it was actually going to land on his face, but it hit right there.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. Yeah. Anyway, don't grab women by the asses.
Obviously.
So they get arrested.
Don't grab anyone by the ass. Let's just do that. Get consent before you grab someone's ass.
She's still feeling objectified. So they're like, we need different clothes. And so they go get different clothes, but they have to steal them because they don't have money. And then they get arrested again.
Yeah.
And she gets objectified again. And she's like, I don't think it's the clothes. So they leave. And basically, Ken's having a grand old time in the real world. And all of a sudden, Barbie's like feeling things and thinking about things. And her brain is
she's going through it. She's
kind of having an existential crisis.
Yeah, not what I was expecting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ken kind of wanders off because he doesn't want to think about things and he just wants to explore. And he realizes that the real world is pretty fucking good for men.
Yeah.
Like, pretty fucking good.
He's just seeing all these men in high-powered positions, running things, talking about stuff.
Riding horses,
cops. Like, he's just obsessed first off with horses.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. But I think it was because the cops were on the horse and looked masculine and powerful. He's just realizing that's very different here, and that Ken's, in his mind, men have all of the benefits, and he wants to make Barbie Land a lot more like this. Yeah.
So he is like, he doesn't really know what he wants. He goes to the library, and because there's a library, he goes and checks out a bunch of books on like how men are awesome and how to rule with patriarchy and horses.
Oh yeah, you just got a book about horses.
Yeah, he does.
You go with what your heart wants.
Anyway, Barbie through the power of imagination, I guess, or memories, shared memories. I don't know.
I guess it's that link that they explained.
Every Barbie has with their human.
Yeah, Weird Barbie had explained this, where basically there is like, because this girl plays with the dolls, and she projects onto you. You know, you feel what she does, and things that happen to you are a result of how this little girl that's playing with you is feeling. So she's realizing that, you know, she's got to find this little girl.
Yeah.
And so I guess she's just going through, the things that the girl made her feel. To find memories.
Yes. They don't really explain it, but I
She's
don't think it
vision.
needs explaining. It's Barbie. It's Barbie. She's using the power of her mind to connect with the person who played with her. Anyway, there's these memories that kind of come up, and so she thinks that it's this little girl in middle school. It turns out to be the mom. The mom who happens to work at Mattel and has a little bit of an existential crisis and has been drawing, interminable thoughts of death.
Yeah.
Or inescapable thoughts of death, Barbie. And she has all of these cute outfits. And so basically all of these things kind of get happening and people hear about Barbie being released and all of a sudden it's an emergency at Mattel.
No, it's because the FBI called somebody at Mattel.
And they were like, there's a Barbie on the loose.
They said that
you deal with this.
Yeah, they found out because of the arrest. And so he is the one telling this guy at Mattel, which I would love to know, first off, why the FBI took the fact that they call themselves Ken and Barbie as serious. And then it's a leap of faith.
It's a movie.
I know. I'm just saying.
You have to suspend disbelief
but
and just assume
it's
that
more
the
fun
FBI
to dissect it.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, it becomes an emergency at Mattel, and they go straight to the top. And who's at the top?
A room full of men sitting around a heart table in the middle of a big pink room with rainbow circles around everything, and Will Ferrell at the head of it.
Yeah, and Will Ferrell at the head of it, for sure.
That goes all the way around the heart table that gets over to him. And then he passes out because Barbie's on the loose, and so they got to get her back in the box. And they actually have a box,
but it's not It's also, it was funny to me that they talked about the fact that it happened once before, but it was just Skipper.
It was like a minor emergency because Skipper got out and tried to take a 2-year-old surfing.
Yeah.
It was a babysitter.
She insisted
Barbie.
she was a babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Skipper, the original Skipper actually was a babysitter.
Yeah.
It was babysitter Barbie. So they find out that Barbie's around. They figure out where she is. They pick her up. They take her back to headquarters where she meets the room full of men that are in charge. And she's like asking, like, well, I just need to talk to your CEO. So where is she?
Well, real quick, we
Oh,
forgot.
go ahead.
No,
I missed something.
The daughter, she runs into the girls, and
and gets obliterated.
And that's why she's crying on the side of the road when they grab her. She basically ran into the girl that she had memories of. She's the girl that played with her. And so she kind of introduces herself, and they're all like, dude, nah, we don't play with Barbies. And then this girl just goes in on her about how she's a fascist. And she makes women feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, it's
and
a very
Barbie was like
poignant moment of like, you actually, like, your release actually set feminism back so far. And you are not a symbol of feminism. You are not a symbol of equality. You don't represent anything good in the world. You kind of screwed us all over as a gender. And it really freaks her out. And so when she calls her a fascist,
blindsides her.
Yeah. She's
so then she gets taken back to Mattel. But America Ferrera picks up the girl, and we realize America Ferrera
is the
mom, and she was the one that was doing all the designs.
Yeah. Her little doodles turned into Cowgirl Barbie, which is Barbie.
Stunning, by the way.
I don't understand how Margot Robbie can literally put on anything and look amazing in it. It's not fair. Also, again, to describe the, like, just inescapable hypocrisy of this whole movie, which is where, and we'll get into the whole bigger meaning of it, but, like, they just cast her so perfectly.
They did.
Because in real life, it's just not fair that Margot Robbie can look so phenomenal in anything and everything, ever, always, all the fucking time.
I know.
And that's literally what we think of as Barbie, is you have to look perfect all the time, every hair and face, all of that.
Yeah.
And she looks good in everything because everything's tailored to fit her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go ahead.
She gets taken to Mattel. Yeah, she gets taken to Mattel, and America Ferrera is there.
She works at, America Ferrera works as an executive assistant in Mattel, which is kind of why she has, like, these, I mean, she works around Barbie designs. So she's just kind of got these little doodles in her head, but it's like this existential crisis type of thing. And then we realize that as she's picking up her daughter from school, the Barbie she had literally doodled earlier is, like, now in front of her.
Yeah, she overheard that Barbie was out, and so she sees Barbie get picked up. She recognizes that her daughter is like, dude, that lady thinks Barbie.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh shit, because it is Barbie. She didn't say
she's
that,
like,
but she's like, okay. So they're like, I guess they followed, to Mattel.
Yeah. So at this point, we see a split.
Yeah.
So Ken comes out of the library. He has read about the patriarchy, and he has seen what life could be like in a world where Kens are in charge.
Yep.
And
Men have power.
Men have the power. Men do all of the things that Barbie did in Barbie Land.
Yeah.
Like, men are actually seen as important. He takes his whole journey. He decides he wants to go and do a bunch of things. So he comes out of the library, and a woman asks him for the time, and he's like, you will respect me. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. May I please have the time? He goes, I don't know it. Doesn't really matter until later, but, like, it's this moment of, like, someone showed me respect for the first time in my Ken life. So he goes and decides he wants to, like, be a CEO or a doctor or a lifeguard or and then he wants to be Beach Ken.
Yeah. So each 3 of these interviews goes as such.
Yes,
give me a high-powered, respected job. No, you're not qualified.
In any way, shape, or form.
I want it. Yeah. No, even though I'm a man. No, you can't just have this job. Yeah, and he even goes, I just want, like, what if I just beach? And it's like, what do you mean beach?
There's nobody hurt on the beach.
Yeah.
Well, I can't actually provide medical assistance on the beach. I just can be here and
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah, just be here and look good. He goes
That's my
beaching.
job. Yeah.
He's gonna beach.
It's gonna be good.
So yeah, he's not really having any luck in the job department in the real world, but he decides he's gonna take his patriarchy books back to Barbie Land.
Oh yeah.
So he's gonna take them back
And the horse
show
book.
and the horse book. And he's gonna show all the Kens the patriarchy and the wonders of horses.
Right.
And so he decides to just get his rollerblades on and start right back.
So he basically abandons Barbie when she gets picked up by Mattel, and he goes off on his own little adventure.
She'll be fine. She's Barbie.
Yeah. And so while he's doing all of this and he decides to go back to Barbie Land, she is meeting Will Ferrell. And she is having this conversation about like how these weird things have been happening and about how like
In the real world, it's not like I thought it would be.
yeah.
And
she's looking for her person, and and they're kind of like, no, it's okay, everything will be just fine, you just got to get back on the box. So she gets in there, she almost gets tied up, and then of course she doesn't, and she realizes that things are a little bit more complicated. So she's like, I think I just need to talk to like whoever's in charge. So where's your CEO? Like, what's her name? And Will Ferrell's like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, who's your COO? And it's all literally man by man. They all wave down the table of all of your high level executives. These are all it for a company that that releases Barbie. So she of course escapes, and she runs through and has a wonderful chasing scene through the offices of Mattel that are hilariously depicted. I think their ability to like poke fun at themselves as a company for this movie was just brilliant. Brilliant.
No, the chase scene itself through the gray cubicles, it's very drab. She's like a giant pop of color.
Yeah.
And it's all these men in black suits, and I don't know if you noticed.
Or the khakis and the sweater vests. The lower downs, they wear khakis, blue shirts, and sweater vests.
That's true.
And the higher ups wear suits.
Yeah. And so, I'm trying to remember where I was.
I'm sorry. They're chasing her down.
She's a beautiful pop of color. And it's almost like slapstick comedy in many ways.
Very much so.
The
kind
way,
woo.
Yeah.
They're all jumping behind her and like kind of falling. And
right.
there's a moment she and Will Ferrell meet up, and they're like, ah! And they run out past each other, and then Will remembers he's trying to chase her, so like,
oh, I forgot. That was what I was thinking of. Meanwhile, really quick, just that Will Ferrell was the only one with pink. Everybody else was, the higher ups were in blue, and he was the only one wearing pink. And so she ends up Barbie ends up getting a slip on them, and she goes down this really long hallway of doors, and she tries a few. She gets into one, and she's just in this dark room and sees this little like diorama almost of someone's very sweet elderly grandmother kitchen.
Just sitting at her kitchen table, working on whatever.
Yeah, she's just sitting. I think she's just having tea.
Yeah.
She was just
hanging out,
reading a paper, and she notices Barbie, the older woman. And Barbie notices her, and so she just kind of sits down. The older lady gives her tea, and they talk about something.
Yeah, there's sorry, I'm going to back up for just a second.
Sorry.
There's a moment where when she first walks into the Mattel boardroom, they offer her a glass of sparkling water, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, yes, please." And so she takes the cup like normal, and she dips it into her face like normal, and all of a sudden there's like water that splashes on her face.
Yeah.
And she had no idea what to do with that, because she's like,
Nothing's
ever come out of it before.
Yeah, I'm not used to anything being in there.
Anyway, so she's in this room with Ruth, who pours her, she's in this room with an old woman, who pours her a cup of tea, and she kind of does her little like,
she's
trying to
has
figure out
drinking liquids for the first time. So she's like trying to figure out how to shape her mouth to get liquid.
Out of a
I don't
cup
think
and
she
into her
liked
mouth.
it very much.
No,
it looked like she was kind of like, okay, and I did that, and I'm not
accomplished the
doing
thing.
that anymore.
I'm not doing that again.
No, and so I forget what they talk about.
It's a very just brief little conversation of like, do you work here? And she's like, oh, I do more than work here. And it's just this quick little thing. And then the guards are coming, so she gives them she tells them how to give the slip.
I remember she was talking about how she was like, there's no women here. Like, do any women work here? And she's talking about how women do much more than just work. And like, yeah, we've always been here. But yeah, the guards are coming. And so this older woman tells her, you know what? If you go through that closet over there, there's some stairs right to the lobby.
Yeah.
And so before Barbie leaves, she kind of comes back and is just like, "What's your name?" And the older woman says Ruth, and she doesn't get a last name. She has to go.
Just says
so
Ruth.
Barbie just goes. So they make it down to the lobby. The higher ups are right behind her.
But they don't
She
have a key
jumps
card.
a turnstile
Easily.
She used her brain and moved her legs over this like knee-high turnstile. All right, knee-high, maybe thigh-high max. And so all the guys run up, but they stop short.
They're like, we don't have a
They don't have a key card, and
So
they're like trying to figure it
They're-
out.
You know, they're like all trying to figure
Yeah.
out who has one, and then
Barbie
someone
goes out the door.
throws it out, and he goes, "Oh no, I threw it away. That was our chance." And then anyway,
And then
she gets away.
she gets away. She gets seen by America Ferrera and her daughter in their car,
Comes
and
and
tells
picks
her
her
to
up,
jump in.
dives into the car.
Yeah, she dives into the car. That's when we see the higher ups. I think it was Will Ferrell throws this little car just at it, and then he leans, going no,
And then it just opens.
he accidentally opens.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, we didn't need that." And then they start running after.
So then
her,
there's
but
a
it's
whole
too late.
car chase scene and everything like that.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
It was a pretty damn
it
fun
was
car
actually
chase.
a really good car chase scene. So then they
You want action? Barbie's got it.
they evade Mattel, and Barbie's like, "I know where we can actually like hide from them, and we need to go and figure this out." Anyway, while they're doing that whole thing, while they're in this car chase scene, you know, that's an intense moment of their own. But they realize that America Ferrera is actually the one who used to play with original Barbie.
The visions, the memories, they were actually America Ferrera's.
So the moms, and that was
Yeah.
the one Barbie that she kept when like her daughter was getting older and didn't want to play with Barbie anymore. And so it was the mom's memories that were doing all these things. And so they have this moment of connection. Anyway, they go back to Barbie Land through all of the things, and they go back and they have all these, and the whole time America Ferrera, I don't remember her name. I feel bad. I don't remember her
I just kept
character
thinking
name.
America Ferrera,
Yeah.
so I just kind of go America.
So America's like say, "Oh, like I had these boots, but I lost one, and my mom wouldn't let me like buy the new set." Or like, "Oh, I remember this release when this happened."
or
Like,
these are from the the vault, or
yeah,
something like that.
So she's going
she's a
through this
fan.
whole thing, and everything they're going, like all of the little steps that they're going through as they go back to Barbie Land. It's all of these things that America remembers having as she was a kid when she was growing up with her Barbie. So it's very nostalgic in that moment. And then they come back and they're singing, you know, her favorite song in the car. It's a whole thing. So they come back, and then all of a sudden, like, things aren't quite right in Barbie Land.
Because remember, Ken got there first. And he brought his patriarchy and horse books.
So the Supreme Court is suddenly seen. When before everyone left, women would be the ones that were playing volleyball, and Kens would be the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
So we come back, and they're driving through the strip, and they kind of look at the beach area, and they're playing. All the dudes are playing volleyball and kind of doing whatever
it's very
they
Top
they want.
Gun-esque.
Yes.
It is very much the sexual tension of the Top Gun scene.
And the girls are all in bikinis, and they're
serving
all doing
the beer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh God, it was very sad to see, because I was so excited when we saw that all the Supreme Court were Barbies, and they were all like doing really well. That everything ran well.
Well, and then so they come back, and Barbie remarks, "Oh, that's the Supreme Court that is now being the cheerleaders, like taking care of the volleyball players." Anyway, all of these women had absolutely nothing to like kind of fight against, and so when Ken came back and was able to tell them about like patriarchy stuff, they had no reason to like believe that he was trying to do them harm. And so all of a sudden men were in charge, and now they're, you know, Barbie dream houses were now Ken, what was it? It was like Ken's Casa Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Mojo Dojo
Casa House. Yeah.
Yeah. And it had horse on a big,
oh my God,
big TV screens with just horses running through the field.
The Mount Rushmore-esque facade of like what had been all of the
Barbies?
President Barbies, or all the influential Barbies on their mountain, was now turned into like
horses.
Horses.
Just horse heads.
Yeah. Ken was now wearing a big fur thing.
Oh my god, this big long mink coat.
So she comes back and she's like, "You've taken over my house. Like, all of my friends are being weird. What the deal? What's the deal?" And he's like, "You need to just get out of here." And so he starts throwing her clothes, which then kind of open up and they do the little limited release. And so America is still kind of the one explaining like the real life, like, this was from this collection, or this was from this collection, or not the Manolo pants or something like that.
No, and that was actually, I think, was that America or Barbie?
That was Barbie that got really upset about it. There was a pair of paisley pants.
They were a particular kind, though, and now I'm upset that I don't remember.
It wasn't Manolos, but I'm going to call it Manolos. But Barbie's like, not the Manolos! And it's funny. They have to leave. They kind of have to figure out, like, what's going on. So they go and they try to leave Barbie Land again, and then it's a whole thing. Anyway, Barbie gives up.
Yeah, Barbie gives up. She's just crying, holding on to, like, she's kicking things. She's having a little fit.
She has a tantrum.
That's like fine, because I get it. You paid for that house.
Her life is ruined. Literally, all of her friends are now brainwashed. Ken's rule the world for some reason, and her Barbie dream house is now Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa house.
Yes.
And she has nowhere to go. She has no friends. She has nothing anymore.
Yeah. So America and her daughter are just getting ready to leave, and they get in the car.
Can we talk about how well Margot's Barbie sitting to falling was it was just
like a doll falling over
to perfection. This woman, it was like literally as it, when you try to sit up a Barbie and you have her arms and this kind of thing, and you get her legs all situated and you just perfectly balance it on like a skirt or something, and then like after a minute, like the skirt ruffles and it just kind of goes to the side, and like the legs kind of pop up as well. Yeah. She acted it so perfectly. It was exactly like a Barbie would fall. And then the way that it straightened out and like just kind of rolled around. Just perfection.
For sure.
Absolute. Anyway, so Barbie gives up and America's like, well, I guess we're leaving. Alan tries to go with them.
Yeah, Alan, well, he's in the back of the car. I don't know if he was just like, because he seems scared as well, but he knew the car was moving. I don't know. Alan's in the back seat though, and they don't notice. And so, like, halfway
he's
back...
just trying to escape Barbie Land because he's like, it's going to be Ken Land and it's going to suck.
Yeah. No, it definitely was just kind of like, he's just like, it's Ken Land, I don't like it here, I'm just going to get out. And then they start singing a song, and he... the radio. No. It was the radio cuts out, because Ken Radio now. It's not Barbie Radio, it's Ken Radio. So it's some cheesy fucking early 2000s...
And when you
song from
you see the dash of the car, it's like so very clearly a like plastic sticker that shows Ken Radio and like the little knob things, and the knobs are plastic and
2D.
It's so funny. It's so well done.
It is a sticker. They were
literally
a
sticker.
A great attention to detail.
Amazing.
And thought everything through.
Amazing.
Because it wouldn't just digitally change.
And when both the first time when they're leaving Barbie Land, and then when America and Alan are leaving, like the guy pops up in the back of the car, and the girls like freak out and they wrench the wheel of this very slow moving car, and it goes like going like 2 miles an hour, where you would see like just kind of scooting along and they're singing, and then all of a sudden there's a surprise and it literally flips through the air like you would flip a child's car as you're turning it around and like landing it off to the side of the road.
Right. It doesn't just like crash.
Oh my God.
It's like someone again is using their hands to flip it because they're using their imagination. But they land perfectly on their butts and they're not in the car.
And they have these little like there's sparkle moments, and there's like when they land there's a little poof of like
animated 2D
cloud dust.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so well done.
Very well done, because it's Barbie Land.
It's Barbie Land.
Yeah. So Alan
is trying to escape because the men are trying to build a wall.
Right. And so the men who are just like the himbo Kens. They don't know how to do construction because they've never done it before. It's always been done by Barbies.
Yeah.
Barbies have all the jobs. Kens have like no jobs.
So they're
just always a party boy. They're a himbo. So So they are building a wall, but Alan says, I mean, once they learn how to build
Build
sideways
sideways.
instead of just up,
And they look over and it's just this
little
tower of like
bricks. And they just keep building more on top, so it's really
there's
tall
a
right now.
huge ladder that goes up this thing.
But it's not a wall.
There's like 17 guys
Right.
around this teeny tiny little.
Yeah. But these guys take notice that Alan and these two ladies are like trying to leave. So they confront them. They start walking up towards them. And Alan just goes, look, just get back in the car. Keep it going.
Oh my god.
And Alan,
kicks.
unsuspecting, it's Michael Cera, by the way. Michael Cera plays Alan, unassuming. But Alan knows how to throw down.
He kicks ass.
He kicks
Oh my
a
god,
lot
he
of
kicks
ass.
so much ass.
Yeah, a ton of ass. He is like flipping them over and just knocking them over.
Exactly how a fight would be with
In
cats.
imagination, yeah.
Oh
You
my
would
God.
think if Alan's gonna win the fight, your imagination has him going
Berserk.
like stunt coordinator performance.
Yes.
So he knocks them all back. He wins the fight, and he's like, I mean, it ends with him pretty much choking one out with a shovel.
It's quite violent.
It is quite violent. Who's playing with
I have
Alan?
no idea.
Who
I
is
have no
playing
idea.
with? It's the only Alan. Only one
The
person
weirdo,
fought
yeah.
Alan.
Oh yeah,
so
there's just one. Yeah.
just one Alan. He's very confused by why there's only one of them. Because there was only ever one Alan released. Ever.
Anyway, so they decided
Yeah.
they all want to go back and try and fix things. Meanwhile, Mattel is still after them, and they are themselves are taking their own trek through all of the faces of
Yeah.
Barbie.
They have to go get their own rollerblades first.
They all go camping together.
You do.
They all go their rollerblades. They
Do
all
they show all of that?
They ride a like 12-person bike.
Oh, they did.
They
yeah.
have
They
little
did.
moments
They did.
where they're
I forgot
showing
about
all
that.
of this
Yes.
stuff.
That's when you showed me they had pink socks.
So cute.
Yeah, they all had their pink socks on.
Oh no, that's later.
Yeah, so they're meanwhile trying to chase them through. But wait, no. America and her daughter and Alan. America decides not to leave Barbie.
Yeah.
She decides she's not going to leave Barbie in the midst of her existential crisis alone.
Right.
So she turns everybody back, and Alan's pissed. He's never going to get out of this place. He's
He's
never going to get out of this place. So they go back, and we don't get to see it yet because it smash cuts to how do we find out where Barbie went? Barbie ends up at Weird Barbie's house somehow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Oh no, America just says I know where she would be taken if she's like not working perfectly.
Oh yeah, because that's the reject.
So she just knows like that's where
That's
they
where
go.
old Weird
Weird Barbie goes. So Weird Barbie has a coalition of all the reject dolls that didn't perform well.
Yeah, like the limited releases that just.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
there was
weird.
like video camera Barbie that had the TV in her back. There was there was the babysitter, the
teen skipper.
teen skipper,
Or
where
young-
if you lift her arms up, her tits grow.
Yeah. So it's like
And so America comes over and she's like, "May I?" And she goes, "Please." And so she like lifts
shakes
her arm
hand.
up, and the tit just.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what was some of the other ones?
Oh, so stupid.
Who were some of the other ones? I laughed.
There was there was Sugar Daddy Ken.
Sugar Daddy Ken, and then the party
Earring
Ken.
Yeah,
Magic
party-
earring
Magic
Ken.
earring Ken.
Where it was actually his necklace. But in the movie they didn't do it because it's a PG-13 movie.
So
But the actual doll has the
Yes.
magic earring on a necklace.
yes.
And it looks like what would be called today a cock ring. Right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
And
just
he
wanna make
looks
sure I
like
didn't
a
say
big
cock
old
ring
daddy.
live
He
for
looks like a
nothing.
big old daddy, like in the movie too. Like,
Yeah.
they cast it perfectly. Again.
Yes.
So Barbie is having this existential crisis, and everything
Yeah,
has
she
been ruined in her
is
life.
pretty much comatose.
And she is at
Yeah.
Weird Barbie's house,
Is that where Barbie's
where
house?
all these other reject Barbies are, and they're like, nothing has worked, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
they're like trying to figure out what's going on, and they're trying to show this doll that she won a Nobel Peace Prize,
Yeah.
and she keeps picking it up, and she's just like,
I want to thank Ken.
"I want to." Oh, well, it was like, I don't deserve this. I just want to thank Ken.
Yeah.
Where it's basically like this idea. Well, again, we'll get into the deeper meaning of it in a minute, but it's very, very funny because they're just like, "No, you won this for like literature."
Yeah, she wrote a book.
She wrote a book and it won a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, no, you did this. Trying to get her to acknowledge her own achievements. And she's just like, no, it's Ken.
Yeah.
And so while they're doing that, America and her daughter show up. Sophia, her daughter's character's name is Sophia.
Yes.
No, her character's daughter's name is Sophia.
Yeah.
They show up and they come to talk to Barbie, and this is where we get the speech. So I'm gonna let you go on the speech because I did not remember
The
every
monologue.
aspect of it, but the
I
idea,
don't either, but we can definitely.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go on a rant about it if you want.
Yeah. Well, so it's based. I mean, just to give you like the paraphrase, is that it's going into all the different little rules of what it means to be a perfect woman or have a perfect all of these things in the patriarchal society that she comes from, reality.
Literally, the beginning of her speech says, "It is impossible to be a woman."
Yeah.
And then it goes from there. It talks about you have to be skinny, but you can't say that you have to be skinny. You've got to be healthy, but you can't say, but it's not about
You still
health.
have to be.
You
skinny.
still have to be skinny. You can't just be healthy and be big. You have to be skinny as well as healthy.
Right.
They go into you've got to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You've got to be able to tell other people what to do, but you also can't be too tough with them.
Right.
You've got to be able to be a mom, but also if you can't talk about your kids all the time. What were the other ones? It was literally just
I think that was
every
most of it.
single. I mean, she goes on for
It was
a good,
just about how many
3 minutes.
contradictions there are to what it means, and by the end of the day, you're just tired.
and literally everything that you're supposed to do. It doesn't matter how well you do it, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
It's never going to be enough.
it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough, or it's not going to be done right, or something will still be wrong because it's a woman
Yeah.
that did the thing.
And
And
at
it
the end of the
just-
day, it all ends up being your
Oof.
fault anyway.
Yeah.
That was what it was. More
It-
than
yeah,
anything.
like-
it ends up being your fault
Yes.
somehow.
If it's a success, it's owed to a man, and if it's a failure, it's if it's a failure, it's all your fault. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's brilliant. So for that reason alone, like, go fucking see the movie, because god damn,
I would definitely recommend
Um,
seeing it for sure.
but it snaps one of the Barbies out. It snaps Nobel Literature Barbie out, and she's like, I wrote a book. I remember. And so they devise a plan. And so the one Barbie that got, like, the Nobel Literature Barbie that got snapped out, she was now the decoy Barbie.
Yeah.
And so all the other Barbies, like, stole the brainwashed Barbies, while the, like, snapped out of it Barbies were able to kind of play decoy, and so have Ken's mansplain woo, everything.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
the idea was to be a decoy basically means to play as a helpless woman.
I don't know how to use Photoshop. And literally a Ken
Where's the
comes and he's
select
like,
tool?
well, you've got to actually select a layer before you do a select, and
Playing
you
on
can't
the
actually
edge,
do
yeah.
that, and you don't really need to be doing this. And it's, or there was one with the Godfather. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, wait, I want to point
Please.
out one little line, because the other one was once they basically
The
deprogrammed President Barbie, she played a helpless woman and comes up next to this Ken and Barbie who are watching Godfather. And she
Oh,
goes, is this the Godfather? And he goes, no, it's the Godfather.
yeah.
And so he gets to start, I've never seen it.
She goes, can you please play it all the way from the beginning and then speak through it the entire time?
And
As they're
teach me everything about the director, Francis Ford Coppola.
You didn't see me do this, but literally as she said that, I reached over and
Yeah.
patted Gary on the leg, because
I know.
Gary's favorite thing to do is go, we're going to watch a new movie. And, like, then he talks the whole time through it. If it's something that he's seen already, he did this with Under the Banner of Heaven too. Like, it was a new show that we were watching, and I hadn't watched it first to be able to understand what was about to happen to explain it to him. So he's like, I need you to explain Mormon to me. And it's like, there's a really intense moment. I need you to shut up while I watch this thing, and then I'll explain it, but stop talking.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's brilliant, the whole thing.
Yes.
And it's
so well done.
It's situation after situation after situation that
Of
literally every woman has been mansplained to for no fucking reason at all.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And then at the very end of this kind of montage of deprogramming, all of the women devise a plan, and they have to make the
Yeah.
Kens come after them.
Right.
Or
They
go
have to
after
basically,
themselves.
yeah, they have to kind of implode the Ken, because right now all the Kens are united because they're all getting the benefits of the
Oh, right.
patriarchy.
Yes. In the meantime, while Barbie was gone, Ken basically came in and was like, he reorganized the government and he kicked out all of these things. And so there's going to be a vote for like which Ken rules and how Kens can vote and how
Well, it's
basically
I think for the
Ken Land is
Supreme
going to go.
Court.
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
like that. Basically, there's a vote coming up that would, if the Kens are all staying united, they're all going to vote and get what they want, which is to redo the whole thing and make it Kendom, not Kenland,
Kendom.
And so I was projecting onto Barbie the whole movie.
Oh, totally. Oh, totally.
Yes. The Barbies have to get them to fight against each other, and the only way they could do that is by making all the Kens jealous of each other. By basically, so the scene then goes, and they basically have to make sure the Kens don't vote or don't vote all the same. So
They got to implode
the Kendom, and so they do it via right now. All the Kens, because they're toxically masculine at this moment, they all want to play guitar at Barbie on the beach. So it shows Barbie with Margot Robbie and Ken, Ryan Gosling, next to this fake campfire. That's so funny.
like
On the fake sandy beach up against the fake freaking waves.
and the fake background with
And
all the
fake
stars,
backgrounds, yeah.
which is they're all very obviously fake, but also very silly.
It does look
and
good though.
The way that they set it up, it's like he starts playing his guitar for her, like in the Ken living room in front of a fire, and then 4 hours later, she's still listening to him play this same stupid fucking song on the guitar. But now they're at a beach, and then not only are they at a beach, but then it was really good camera work that they did
very
this,
good camera work.
where
They
back up and they kind of turn, and all of a sudden it goes from like one Ken and Barbie to multiple Kens that are all playing the guitar and all playing the exact same song, and all the Barbies that are sitting there listening to it.
They just have this very vacant smile on their face.
Yeah.
Like they're enjoying themselves, but you can tell they're not.
Well, then there's a moment where they it's a signal and they all switch Kens.
Yeah, they one girl winks at Barbie and then she gets up and goes to the Simulu. I hope I'm saying his name right. I might not be. But they go up to the Simulu, but Ken, and she goes, I want to hear, she pretends she got a text first.
From him,
I'm sorry. She pretends like she got a text, and it was so funny. And then Ryan Gosling's Ken is just like, who are you texting?
Super jealous.
Yeah, he goes, who are you texting? And she goes, nobody. And
So
she goes, who? He grabs the phone.
It's Ken.
Ken! He has a whole meltdown.
Right.
And she goes over to the Simulu Ken and wants to hear him play guitar. Then that Ken, his Barbie goes to another Ken, and they all switch Kens. And so every Ken is all mad at each other.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they're getting pissed. So
they come up with this, we're going to go to war with the Ken.
Yeah, so Ken, the main Ken, stereotypical Ken, beach Ken, he and his neighbors, it's just I think built on neighborhood at this point. Because it's just he's talking to his neighbors, the other Kens, and they're just we need to get those Kens. And what do we call them if they're Kens? Well, they're Kens. And I don't know. It was just so well done. And so they decide that they're going to attack the other Kens on the beach at 10 a.m. And so that it goes into a song.
Yeah.
The best song.
It makes me think of, I'm going to go on just a tiny tangent. It makes me think of the Letterkenny spinoff called Shoresy.
I have to watch this.
It's really good. And they have, it's called, what is it called? It's the Jims. It's 3 guys named Jims.
Oh, God.
And they don't want to be called by their last name, and they don't want to be called Jim 1, Jim 2, Jim 3. They're all Jims. And so they're the Jims.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Kens. So
Exactly.
they all go to war with themselves, but this is a big musical number for Ryan Gosling, Ken, who comes up and he's riding in a boat that's also a horse with his fur coat and his fringe vest and all of the things that make him a super cool Ken. And he's coming in.
And he's still singing his song, but he's just Ken.
And all of the actors around him are all moving in slow motion
as they attack
in real
the beach.
time as they attack the beach. They're having these fights with lacrosse sticks and arrows that have the suction cups on the end of them. and
But they act like they're real
beach
weapons.
balls and all of this shit.
So one guy gets stabbed by a lacrosse stick by Simu Liu. Oh my god! And they act like it went through him.
Dying,
You know,
yeah.
Ryan Gosling gets hit with a sucker arrow, and
But-
he acts like it was a real hit, and he like kind of like half tumbles.
But both of these Kens are powerful enough to where they can just kind of do their
Thrust.
thrust.
Or I don't know, Simu Liu thrusted with his hips.
Oh yeah, he did.
He did a pelvic thrust. And
There's
it was
there's
amazing.
an opening of the torso in motion in
Yeah.
whatever way, and it the power of Ken compelled them.
Yes, and it
like blasts everyone away.
like they had the force
yeah,
from Star Wars, and they just thrust it out of themselves, and it knocked all these guys around them.
and they brought in the
Excellent
sparkle.
action.
They brought in the sparkle effects and everything,
Yeah.
and then both Kens face each other, and then they have the sparkles like explode.
They white out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they white out, and then it's a musical number with a dance scene.
Yeah, because this is the beach off,
This is the
'Cause they're
beach
gonna
off. They're
beach-
finally beaching each other off.
which I never knew. Was that said in the trailer?
I think
Beach
there was
off?
one.
I
Like I,
thought
think
I
there was
meant
one
where I
little
was like,
discussion of like beach you off.
nobody's
Yeah.
gonna beach anybody off. Aw. But yeah, they have this amazing choreographed dance number, and some
Dressed all
where
in
they're
black
like
with
dance
pink
fighting.
socks.
But then they kind of end up like
Where Kens?
they all come together
Yeah,
at the end of the
together.
song. They resolve their differences.
Yeah, through a dance
They're all
battle.
Kens. But it's not that they were against each other and they didn't all vote. They just were dancing so hard they ended up missing the vote. One of them
Someone
remembers.
reminded them.
Weren't we supposed to vote today? And
Yeah.
Ken's just kind of like, oh yeah, that was today.
So while they're having this big beach battle, the Mattel guys come through. They start getting stabbed, and one of them is like, "Are these real weapons?" And they're like, "No."
No.
He goes, "Well, why does it feel real?" And meanwhile, Barbies are watching from afar, and they're like, "Do you want to just reinstate
take our-
the
yeah.
Constitution? Like, you want to take our
We'll vote
government
our
back?"
Constitution back in.
And so they got everything set to rights again.
yes, they did.
And the Kens had a whole implosion of things. They had fake horses that they were.
Oh yeah, they rode fake horses
Like the
via
little-
Monty Python.
Yes. Well, okay. They had the fake horses
didn't have
via
the
Monty
coconuts.
Python, but they also had they had the imaginary ones, but they also had the ones that
Oh,
were like the
fake-
stuffed with the broomstick ones. with
Yeah,
the
the wooden head, or not the wooden head, the horse
There's
head.
one moment where one of them is trying to give mouth to mouth to the horse, and I lost it.
I forgot. Yes, he was trying to give
my
CPR.
God. Oh my god, it was so good.
Oh,
It was very much an imaginary like battle
Yes.
between a bunch of buddies, and it was so fun. They have, at the end, like Ken's like, I don't know who I am without Barbie, and so they have to have this whole conversation,
yeah.
figure out who Ken is. Is he Ken-enough?
Yes. Can I mention there is a shirt, or not a shirt? It's a
Sweatshirt.
fuzzy,
It's a sweatshirt.
fuzzy hoodie sweatshirt that says "I'm Kenuff." Kenuff. As I'm enough. I'm a Kenuff.
He's Ken-enough.
I'm Ken enough. Yeah, it was really excellent. So basically, yeah, Barbie and Ken have a talk where Ken just knows himself as in relation to Barbie. And so now he has to figure out what is Ken without Barbie. What is it's Ken and it's Barbie.
Yeah, it's just Ken.
Yeah.
So he's kind of going through his own little growth phase,
Emotional growth.
emotional growth, in that he's feeling it for the first time. The Kens are kind of still together. Mattel comes out and they're like, "Okay, this is a great," and Margot's like, original Barbie. It's like, well, what's my ending? Like, what do I get? I don't understand like where to go from here. And Ruth comes back.
Right. Yeah. So Sophia was like, well, wait a minute. Barbie doesn't get an ending. What about
Yeah.
her? And she didn't know what she wanted her ending to be. And then Ruth comes out. Yes, the older lady from the Mattel offices. And she comes out and talks to Barbie. And Barbie is thinking, like, well, I don't really know what I want.
Yeah.
She wanted something in the end. They were kind of walking and talking after that. Because Ruth's like, well, take my hand. We'll talk. They're walking and kind of having a discussion about, I think Barbie said she wanted to be the one with the imagination and be the person. Kind of like she wanted to be real.
She wanted to be a human, and she wanted to feel okay about feeling that.
Yeah.
Not wanting to be Barbie anymore. And there's a very good little moment of like they kind of connect, and all of a sudden, you can see all of these little images that kind of flash through that are
Made me
all
cry.
things. Oh, totally.
Oh my god.
That are all things that mean to be a woman, to be a
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
And
She wants to write her own destiny.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very girl centric. So all of these montages are women, are
Yeah.
girls, and it's very much like you can be multifaceted. You can have these complicated emotions. You can be imperfect. You can be not pretty. You can be beautiful. You can be thoughtful. You can be a dummy. You can do all of these things, and you can be all of this in the same day.
And you can choose to be
and
that.
you can choose to be that, or you can be something else.
It's all up to you.
Yeah, very much so. And so she makes the decision that she wants to be a human. So
Yeah.
she goes back to the real world with her other human and Sophia and their dad, who is learning Spanish, and they're
That's
fucking
right.
adorable.
I will say the dad is.
He shows up in
phenomenal.
2 shots, and he's brilliant in both of them.
He is. I want him to be a standout star.
So cute.
Look out for him if
Yes.
you haven't seen the movie.
So
If you
good.
haven't seen the movie, you should probably not have listened to the spoilers. But it's
Yeah.
still excellent. The visual appeal of the film alone is worth going. And seeing the hard work that was put into this film, my God, so good. So that's the general premise. So anything we bring up from here? Oh, am I forgetting something?
Well, we need to talk about the very last
Oh,
moment.
that's right. I almost forgot the best part.
I'm gonna skip forward ahead because and go into, in the credits, they show all of the actual Barbie releases that they go
Yes.
over into.
These were
during the
real
movie.
dolls.
Like, they were real dolls, and they show the real. It's very cute. But the very last scene, so she's human now. Her hair is kind of a mess. She's got an
Really?
oversight.
I guess
No, I love it. Like, in a
but
good
it's
way.
not Barbie
Like, it's
perfect.
not Barbie perfect, but it looks good.
I didn't even
Like,
notice.
for a real person, it looks good.
Yeah.
She's got like an oversized blazer. She gets up. She's wearing pink Birkenstocks.
Yes, she is wearing
she
Birkenstocks.
walks
She
in,
chose the Birkenstock.
And everyone, and America looks back, and she's like, "Good luck.
Good
you
luck."
you got this."
And I'm sitting here
And we're
going,
like,
it's
she's
a job
going
interview.
in, and she's going to interview for a job and like get her life started. And so she walks up to this receptionist who says, "How can I help you?" And the very last line of the movie, she says,
I'm here to see my gynecologist. And it was like, she was so excited.
biggest smile. Oh my god! Oh,
I mean,
we
good
missed,
on you
we
for
missed
having-
the whole part of why that's so fucking funny, which is the way they first come to the real world. There's a whole comment about like, I'd like to see what's under those shorts because they're hitting on
Or
Barbie.
I want to get in those
And
shorts.
it's like, I don't have a vagina and he doesn't have a penis. Like, we have nouns, and she's very clear about that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have anything under there. There's nothing
yeah,
sexual
if
about
I
it
get
at all.
what I think you're saying, no, I don't have a vagina.
Yeah, exactly. So they have a whole moment of like, she's not actually a human and she's got a mound down there. So the last moment being, I'm here to see my gynecologist.
Which is just so funny. She's so excited about having a vagina, which, like, yay for you.
It's gonna suck so hard.
The gynecological visit is not the thing to be excited about.
No.
But, like, do you. I like her attitude about it. Have fun.
Anyway, amazing movie.
Yes.
Brilliantly acted, brilliantly cast. I
Yeah.
don't think I would have changed a goddamn thing.
No, I would not change anything about it. I thought this was phenomenal, start to front. I don't usually laugh super loud in a film, but I laughed all the way through.
We
At
were
different
so
points.
loud and just
Yeah,
irreverent,
was.
but it was because it was so fucking good. And I think we might have been maybe the oldest people in the theater.
I didn't even look at the other people.
yeah.
I was just looking for my seat.
It was very much a nostalgic thing. Like, we
Yeah.
grew up with these things. Everything was so recognizable. Every time we saw a new thing, we'd point out,
I just love how they talked about Midge. And it was weird because, like, how is she not with the weird Barbies? Because I don't know. All right. So they mentioned Midge,
she
like,
lives in that weird house.
so they mentioned Midge, who is the Barbie that was released sometime in the early 2000s or late 90s.
I think in the late 90s.
Yeah, and it was like a pregnant
Pregnant.
doll that had like a little magnetic belly that would come off, and you would, so she could have a baby and all that. And it was very controversial at the time, so they stopped making her.
Yeah.
She's discontinued, and that was the only time. And so they just, in the beginning, they're like, oh, and that's Midge, Barbie's pregnant friend. But we really
That's it.
shouldn't spend that much time on her because she was discontinued, and they just moved the camera along.
They break the fourth wall
A
a couple
lot.
times in different ways. There's a moment where when Barbie's having her breakdown and they talk about she goes, I don't feel pretty. This is it's right before the big monologue.
Yeah.
But Barbie goes into like, I don't feel pretty. I don't feel like Barbie. And Helen Mirren, the narrator of this whole thing, kind of pauses and she goes, I'd like to point out to the directors of this show that casting Margot Robbie for this moment was not the right way to get the point across.
Yeah.
It was just so like,
It was excellent.
it was, and a great moment from like the audience point of view that always thinks this is like,
Yeah.
fuck off, Margot Robbie, you're fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
All the time, always.
Yeah. No, that was an excellent little bit. And if that was, I want to know how that got thrown in there or if that was always part of it.
I'm sure it was written in. Greta Gerwig, genius that she is just very good at like taking the moments that are unspoken and saying them
Yeah.
out loud.
I noticed that right
We
away.
had probably 4 or 5 of those moments like just throughout the movie that were smaller than the big monologue, but were also very, very poignant
Yeah.
in their own right.
Yeah. They basically, like she said, they take something that we all kind of understood
But it's not
as
spoken
unwritten.
clearly.
You don't say it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there. And
People
it's,
just know it.
yeah. And she just is like, well, I'm going to say it because there's no ignoring it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was excellent. This was a very excellent film. I loved it. I mean, I immediately right off the bat with the Ken thing, it's like the roles are reversed. He's just Ken. But it did make it so that we had no idea that Ken was going to be almost like a villain, essentially, an unwitting villain.
Yeah.
But it
He's
was
too dumb to realize that he was.
Yeah, he didn't look into the patriarchy. He only saw the benefits for him. He didn't look into the effects of the patriarchy. He didn't do any of those things.
There was a moment at the beginning of the movie where they're going through this whole fantasy land of Barbie land where,
Yeah.
It's Barbie president and Barbie Supreme Court and all this stuff. And you leaned over and you were like, it's like if the roles were reversed in real life.
Exactly.
And I didn't say anything at the moment, but as soon as they get to the real world and Ken's going through his moment of like, men,
Enjoying the masculine
enjoying
energy.
all the masculine men energy, it was that came back to me of like, it literally is like when things were reversed.
Yeah.
And
so it was interesting because it's like the Kens didn't have it that bad. He just, it was girl night every night. Like, yes, that is something you want to pay
maybe have a
attention
little
to.
bit more equality, but also it was a very
Yeah.
poignant way to point out, like, looking at this from the other way, it doesn't, and that's kind of, he's kind of cruel about it when she first comes back to
Very.
Barbie Land, where he's like, you don't like how it feels now, do you?
No,
Like,
yeah.
I'm having a party and
It's
I don't
guys'
want
night.
you around. Yeah, it's guys' night, and I don't want you around. She's like,
But
he's
there's other
rejecting
women
her,
there.
and he's kind of cruel about it. And she's like, you don't like how it feels, do you? It's very
Yeah.
upsetting, but also like, yep, that's
a small taste of it.
small taste
Small
of it.
taste of it.
And
But yeah, he like doesn't have a job there. I get it. It is kind of like he is just on the sideline. He's the character that's like a side character. He's not fully developed as a person. And so it's very much when you see the way women are written.
I was gonna say how women are depicted in
How
books
women are
all
depicted.
the time.
Oh, I love those. Side note, I love those memes where they talked about how male writers write women. And there's some where it's like her.
She was all hips and thighs. Her legs went on
Well,
for days, and her eyes had the stormy look of a woman wronged in her 40s, but she had the taste of a much younger female.
or even just
it's like,
inaccurate.
was her hair blonde? What color were her actual eyes? Like, they weren't the color of a feeling.
Well,
Were
even
they
just
blue?
like
Were they
just the
green?
physical descriptions of like their bodies, like her breasts heaving,
The
but they
bosoms.
won't say
The
heaving.
bosoms.
They like use the wrong word for it. I don't know. Now I forgot what it was, but
The
it was
panting bosoms.
something like that. Like they don't pant, but like you're panting, so I get where they're coming from. But anyway, it's very much like he's not fully developed. It's just he's beaching. He's just beach Ken.
He's just beach Ken. And they kind of go into like the lack of depth for a character, but also how that lack of depth
Affects
creates a void that can easily be filled with a whole lot of hate and stupidity and
right.
patriarchy.
Like
all sorts of shit.
Very tunnel vision. I'm just thinking about my experience in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was very, very well written from like when you see that as part of the film, it really opens it up. So I want to watch it again at some point when it's on DVD.
If you guys haven't seen Lady Bird or Little Women, go check those out. They are other brilliant films by Greta Gerwig.
I'm gonna be watching Little Women later.
So good. She just has a way of being able to just hit the fucking nail on the head
Mhm.
with difficult conversations of like, a woman's existence is hard. Like it just is, and it's because there are so many aspects of her life where we have to fit in. That was another moment of the monologue
Yeah.
where she goes, everything we have to do, we have to fit in so that we can be palatable
Like well
for men, so that people will like us, so that men will be able to handle us as people. We make ourselves smaller so that men can feel better.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
you basically, it's like that. An analogy for it in my mind that I went straight to was like those shows where they have those crazy shapes that come at you and you got to like stand in the way so that. Have you ever seen those? Okay, now I feel crazy. No. It showed up. It's like oh, you know where? No, I've seen this before. Like it's a game show idea where like somebody's standing and there's a wall coming at them with a shape cut out in it.
oh, so you gotta stand in that way,
And you got to stand in a way so that you won't get hit by the wall and you'll go right through. And so it's kind of like you have to like contort yourself to try to fit whatever environment you're in. And that's what this is. But this environment is so heavily stacked against you.
But it's not a wall on a game show. It's literally
life.
every moment of
every
your
application,
existence.
every job application, every credit card or loan application.
Every conversation you have with a fucking man that wants to explain how you do the thing that you've been doing for years.
Yeah.
It's every conversation with anyone. Just it's hard.
Yeah. So it was like it felt very validating to watch.
It was very validating.
And just it's the fun of Barbie, the fun of playing with the idea that these toys are real and
also
how they shape the reality.
Outgrowing the idea that anyone can be too old for Barbie. Because Barbie is not just a toy, it's a state of mind or whatever.
Yeah.
And also
it's like
like
brainstorming.
You can they kind of went into like the idea of feminism was set forward by a lot because Barbie existed, because all of a sudden there were Barbie doctors and there were Barbie lawyers and there were Barbie astronauts.
There is a
girls
duality.
could grow up with these Barbies as role models and be anything that they wanted to be. And that was kind of the idea behind why Barbie Land thought that the real world was so successful, was because all these Barbies, they worked hard, they achieved their dreams, they worked hard, so they deserved the thing. That was one of the like Nobel Prize winners, was like, I worked hard for this, so I deserve it. It was, if you work hard, you get this thing.
Yeah. And
you know, all of these lies that we were kind of fed growing up. That's another one of those like millennial lies of, if you work hard for this, you can get it someday. They kind of tied that in as well, in a really good way. But at the very end, it was like, doesn't matter what you're going to try and do. And the real world doesn't work like that. Like, you can't be Barbie anything. You've got to work twice as hard.
It's the duality of Barbie as well, where yes, when Barbie was, having all these jobs and all of these ways that girls could get these dreams and project themselves onto the doll, who had these careers, they themselves felt like, well, this would be like, I could have this career. This is possible. Then girls got those big dreams and they wanted to achieve those big dreams, but then the system started to push back. Yeah. Because the patriarchy doesn't want that. Yeah. And so that's kind of a potential thought I got out of this film is it's just like Barbie has her place, but Barbie also has been warped by the patriarchy into this quote unquote enemy.
Well, and you even said like yourself that the inspiration for the shape of Barbie and like kind of her image in general was based off of an illustrated sex worker.
Doll. Yeah. The Lily doll.
So in and of itself, like the very idea was sexualized to begin with.
Right.
And
not by Ruth, but like
by while the idea of Barbie and girls worldwide can be anything they want by kind of trying to set these
examples.
people took it instead like physically, and it was you need to look like Barbie. Like they took the wrong part of it
Right.
and warped it into the worst version of real life.
And it was because Ruth also, I think, chose the Lily doll model because she didn't want it to be taken as a teenager or prepubescent kind of doll. She wanted it to be very, very firmly an adult woman doll because there weren't any at that time, like they say in the film.
Yeah.
It was all baby dolls or little girl toy dolls like toddlers and anything other than that. And so the only play mode that young girls had was mommy mode.
Yeah.
And she knew, especially after World War II, they're talking about the 50s, late 40s, early 50s, you're talking about after World War II, women were in the workplace.
Got the Rosie the Riveter
Exactly.
bitches coming
And
in.
now it was being pushed back to the nuclear family. And so I don't know if she was thinking quite so deeply into it, but at that time, that's the doll women needed to keep the fight going.
No, it was a good move. But I also think that the movie has merit in saying that it set feminism back.
It did. I think so. It's a tool that was...
I think it pushed it forward and pushed it back in a lot of ways. It did a lot of good and it did a lot of bad.
Yeah.
As most toys can do if we take them the wrong way.
Well, so even in the film, the Rhea Perlman from Cheers, she plays Ruth Handler.
Yeah.
Handler? I don't know. I can't remember. Oh crap! I just saw the movie like an hour ago. I should know. But the creator of Barbie, she even said, actually America said life changes, and then Ruth even says that things do change. Not everything can stay the same. And then I started thinking, well, that's true. Feminism changes with time as well because the fight is different. We make steps, but we have to readjust our strategy. And so Barbie, I think, was held on to for way too long.
In the way that it was.
Way that it was. Yeah, it's more of a fashion doll rather than, I don't know.
I do like now, I think Barbie is mostly flat-footed now.
I am
it's
very
mostly
happy
flats.
about, the realistic bodies of people now being represented in Barbie. So it's nice to see reality having a reflection on Barbie now.
When they did their little montage of all the Barbies that got released, I loved that they had wheelchair Barbie because I remember her. I remember her coming out.
Really?
I was so excited about it.
I do not remember this launch.
Oh yeah, it was I think there was a bunch of them that came out that same year.
Yeah.
But she shows up a couple times in that movie.
I do see the character in the movie, but I didn't realize she was based on a real doll.
All of them were.
I love to know that. I was not aware. It's insane. Great.
Anyway.
Yeah, this movie had a lot of talking points. I'm going to be thinking about it.
Yeah, there's so much to go into.
I really would love to do an episode at one point where we both kind of talk about the movie.
I'm releasing this.
Oh, no, this is the initial reaction. But at some point, if we think about it harder and we think of stuff, I would love to revisit. Because I think there's so much more we could even get into once we notice the
I want to
details.
listen to that monologue 17 more times.
I'm sure somebody has it up.
Good. Fuck was it good.
I know. I want to just go frame by frame just to look at all the work and the set design, costume design.
Gary remarked on that a lot. He was it was just incredible. Every single detail.
Yeah. It was
not stress enough. The nails were perfect. The way that they held their little hands were perfectly done.
Yeah.
The papers, the way they held their papers.
Yeah. All the actors committed, the extras committed. All the Kens, all the
so
Barbies,
good, yeah.
fully committed to the world that was placed here. So, oh my God, can I tell you that Ken who eventually gets the faux mink mojo jacket?
Yes!
It was that's what it was, faux mink mojo.
He has a high-pitched voice the whole movie, and then...
so this guy wasn't the lifeguard guy, was he? No. He was
He was just another Ken.
He was just another Ken.
He was just another Ken.
Another one of those Kens. But he had this very high-pitched voice for a man anyway. And I don't want to say it's high-pitched for a man, but it was a higher-pitched, lower-tone voice. And he was very much, I think, on the nervous side. He was the one crawling on the sand during the beach fight.
Yeah, I think he was.
He was crawling on the sand. He looked very scared. And so he, at the end, when Ryan Gosling's Ken is kind of going, you know what? I am going to get to know Ken. And so he throws his faux mink mojo jacket out to the other. Yeah, freeze frame. It does unfold and freeze frame to show you that it was a jacket.
And they're whining as horses?
And yes. And so he throws it down to this particular Ken with a higher voice. And as soon as that happens, he gets very masculine sounding, like stereotypical societal expectations masculine.
Male.
Yeah, and he dropped his voice and
Like
was
on
just,
octave.
yeah, he dropped it. Pretty much a full octave. And it was just amazing. I think everybody deserves a good standout. You know, this movie is making it for like, it's got to go for an Oscar for like set design.
At the
Costume.
very least,
Gotta
set
be set
design
design.
and costuming. The music,
Oh, yeah.
incredible. I'm pretty sure Lizzo was the one that sang that
Sang the
opening
opening.
song.
That was the first, it sounded like Lizzo to me as well, where she's singing the opening and like, it's almost commentating
And
on
it's-
Barbie's Day.
And it is literally, they have two versions of the song. They have the perfect day, everyday Barbie first version, and then they have the things are getting harder
Yeah.
existential crisis version. And they sound nigh on the fucking same,
Yeah,
with the
almost.
exception of just some of the words.
Lyrics, yeah. No, it was excellent. I definitely want to watch it again.
So good. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm so glad we went. Oh,
Me too.
Pippin. I'm getting tired.
I'm a tired.
Well,
Anyway,
I was gonna say, anything else on it?
I
Anything
don't
you can
think
think
so.
of?
It was really good. Go see it.
Please do. Do yourself a
Enjoy
favor.
the nostalgia of a thing. I mean, especially if you're a girl and ever played with Barbies,
Yeah.
or just a girl in general,
You'll pick
and
up
played
on a
with
lot.
dolls. You'll pick up on so much.
Or if you had sisters or, cousins who played with dolls and you were around. You
Yeah.
probably heard some of the dramatic storylines that they came up with.
I think as a woman you'll get it more. I like
Automatically, you'll pick up on some stuff, for sure.
Gary probably has a lot of perspectives of his own
Yeah.
for like all of a sudden, Ken never being paid attention to, all of a sudden is in positions of power. And I'm excited to kind of hear a little bit of his perspective.
Yeah, you gotta
But-
let me know.
But as a girl, like, just go see it.
Definitely.
There is a world that exists where girls rule the world. They rule the laws, they rule the world, they're in charge,
It was
and
so
things
nice.
are good and things are happy every day.
Things were.
And it was
Doctors showed up right on the scene.
very cute all the time. Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, because it's a movie.
The president President Barbie gives Kate McKinnon like a cabinet office, and it's literally like sanitation.
she really
yeah.
wanted sanitation.
So it's very cute, and the theme. Oh my god! Just go see it.
Not enough you can say.
Yeah, we've run out of words, so
I
we're
know.
gonna end it here and go see the fucking movie.
Yes, please do, and thank you guys so much.
We're gonna
please
release
leave
this
comments.
on Spotify
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna edit it. Just gonna.
No, yeah, and I have comments starting to get turned on for everything on Spotify. So if you have any
Cute.
thoughts of your own, if you've seen it, tell us all about your experience, anything you noticed. And until next time, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
That one ended, or something like that. Yeah.
Ending.
Ending.
Oh, we're still live.
We're ending
Hi.
here. Oh my god, there's someone that actually started watching us.
Thank you.
What? This is crazy.
Thank
you
you.
to the one person.
Thanks,
Woo!
Watcher. Is it us? Are we the
I don't-
Watcher?
Think so, and they
Oh.
stopped.
Ah! It's not us. I love that. Is it us? Are we the Watcher?
Oh, it stopped.